So we were run out of the high school our first year or running the program out of our high school the first year. And then they decided they wanted us to start paying like an astronomical amount of money, up to upwards of like $1,000 a day to practice, which obviously isn't feasible. So we were kind of just distraught, devastated. We have 8 teams in our program, and like wondering where we were going to go was quite scary. And I met with someone on the board at the central school board, and met with a few different people, but she suggested using a church, and we had just joined Blackwater recently. And so I was like, perfect, so I called, and it just fell into place perfectly, and it's been awesome ever since. So the updates and remodel have been amazing. It's so much more aesthetic, for one, but also it's more inviting. It's just very welcoming, and it's a much better space for us to be in. We have grown a little bit to bring more exposure to the sport in younger ages, because it's like, basketball has bitty basketball, and there's pee-wee football and t-ball for softball, but unfortunately kids aren't exposed to volleyball until much later. We have started a program, an in-house program we call it, to expose kids to the sport and learning the game, and we use lots of different fun games and manipulatives and things that correlate to the sport while also teaching the fundamentals of the sport. It's busy, it's chaotic, but the reward and the investment in the kids and their development, it makes it all worth it. There's a difference between silly and fun, and we can still have fun and do what we love and be disciplined, and stay focused. There's still area you can still grow that way and compete that way, and it's important that they have that opportunity. And that's kind of what sets us apart. Like, our vibe is different than a lot of clubs, because we're not a win at all cost kind of organization. We are very value based, and the life lessons and morals and values and things we get to coach along the way mean more to us than any win or loss at the end of the day. Of course, we compete and we want to win. I had my 18s team that Stella plays on won the championship this weekend. I had 2 teams place third. One of my teams placed fourth. Like, we're competing, but on a level that, it's more about reaching the heart and competing as a Christian. A girl I played ball with growing up competitively, she went to a different high school, but we played club ball together. And her daughter came, like, we've kept in touch, and we see them at different tournaments and whatnot, but her daughter played for a different organization for 2 years. And she called me out of the blue this summer and was like, can we meet for lunch? And I'm like, absolutely. And all that to say, her daughter's joy and love of the game and her spirit was just, her confidence, everything was just crushed from, where she had been and the type of environment she was exposed to playing for and whatnot. And so we kind of talked through that. And now she's with me this year, and she said to me last night, I finally have my daughter back. She has her joy. She's comfortable. Like, she's getting, she's confident again. And, that means more to me than you'll ever know. And those are the things that make the hard days, or the hard parent situations. Like, that's what makes it all worth it. It's, no child should lose their love of the game from the environment that they're playing in. At the end of the day, we play because we love the sport, right? And so if someone's crushed because of that, then we're in it for the wrong reasons, which unfortunately happens more than it should. I think just trusting that God has a plan, and while, taking the leap to start my own program was, rather scary, to say the least. People have begged and begged for years and years, because we don't have anything like that out here. The closest thing we had to something similar is where we originally started, with me coaching and then my girls playing, and it's about a 45-minute drive, and it's not feasible. It's not feasible for people out here in this area. So taking that leap was scary, but There was definitely just a tug on my heart. I knew, it gave so many kids the opportunity in this community and the surrounding communities to be able to do what they love, and may not have the means to, go elsewhere. And it's just trusting and knowing that of all the chaos and the late nights and the hours upon hours in the gym and planning and the behind the scenes paperwork and computer work and all that, in the end, it's the relationships you build with the kids. It's the opportunity to mentor them at such a crucial part of their, young adult development. And we're very passionate about coaching the heart, the mind, and the skills. And so being here at Blackwater, provides support for that. And it's really been a blessing.